I'll start today with a riddle. What has two thumbs and hates countdowns? This guy. I think it's a waste of time. Okay, so yeah, Jason has it too. How you doing today, Jason?
I'm pretty good, Dan. How are you doing today?
I'm great. After all, our very favorite audience members are here, aren't they? And this is the REI Rocks review. We do this every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Do not adjust your television set. Angel is here. She can probably hear us. It's a bit laggy, but Angel, maybe you want to unmute and say hi to everybody? It's coming.
Yeah. Hi, guys. If I'm super laggy, sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. It's so far so good. So do you want to tell everybody what we do on REI Rocks reviews, and we'll see how that goes?
All right. So what we're going to be doing is we take a past summit session and we go through it. We add some commentary, we clarify concepts, and in the end, we give you our takeaways so that we can help you learn how to break down sessions that you're in, whether it's with us or with somebody else, so that you figure out how to pull the actionable steps so that you level up and move the needle and you quicker and faster and easier and just get the most you can out of everything you're doing.
I love it. I love it. And we review our past summits at 1.5 times speed, which is a great way to learn how to consume pre-recorded content and learn and grow faster and faster. And today it's about mindset, which I got to admit, as I saw real estate coaching and just this whole industry, I kept on seeing mindset come up again and again and again. And it hit me as kind of odd. But I'm going to turn around to Jason and say, Jason, first of all, how are you doing today? How is your mindset? What have you got to say about mindset in general?
My mindset today is pretty good. I had a good coaching call last night with my coach, and so he helps me keep my good mindset going. So I'm ready. And
I love it.
You have to have a good mindset if you're in the space, otherwise you're going to get beat down, and that's where bad things happen. So.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people, you got your engineering background. I got my engineering background. I find engineers in general try and design their lives so that they don't have to be self-motivated and be the person who has to figure out what's the next step. And I don't mean like obviously engineers have to take care of whatever's in their wheelhouse, but the business as a whole, like going out and bugging more potential clients and stuff like that, that's kind of not what an engineer does, but it's absolutely part of syndication. Have I got you about right there? Do you agree on that, Jason?
Yeah, and as an engineer, I've never really had to work with people, but even in like your introverted state of real estate, you still have to have those relationships and care them. So you have to, yeah. So.
And it's definitely tough pitching people. It's got to become a habit. And speaking of which, this space could be yours if you're watching this and thinking, hey, I could really use some more eyeballs from people who are in commercial real estate, they're interested in finding out more. You can get some more eyeballs just as part of this REI Rocks review. We're here every Friday, and I want to take a second to get a very chipper Angel talking about our gold sponsor, Sponsor Cloud. Let's do it.
Hey guys, it's Angel, and we are super excited to announce our newest gold sponsors, Sponsor Cloud. If you're wondering what Sponsor Cloud is the one-stop shop for sponsors to automate, to delegate, to execute every aspect of their syndication projects, from affordable PPM generation to investor relationship management to fund administration and compliance, exclusive capital raising networking events. Plus, for the REI Rocks community, they're going to offer free migration and customer success services when switching from another provider. That's like a $2,000 value. So contact Sponsor Cloud, contact them today, and see how much time and money you can save. You can visit them at sponsorcloud.io sponsor.club/contact, and make sure you let them know that you're part of the REI Rocks community, because these sponsors are the reason why we are able to continue offering affordable and low cost, no cost education, summits, information, knowledge, experiences, all of the things that we're able to find and bring to y'all. It happens because we have sponsors like Sponsor Cloud. So check them out, see how they can help you out. And Sponsor Cloud, thank you.
That's totally awesome. And the only thing better than buying something new that really helps your business is finding something that's free that helps your business. So I'm going to mention Marvelous Mondays. Every Monday at noon Eastern, we get together with commercial real estate peeps, and the link is theacademypresents.com or /meetup link, or you can scan the QR code. Now, let me just share my screen. The presentation today is with Amy Silvis. Who wants to say a thing or two about Amy? And I know Douglas is there, and the one who did the cataract. Dr. Nancy, yeah, she does the cataract surgery. I remember, if I recall correctly. I don't know, Angel, I'm not sure if her signal situation is okay or not, but Jason, maybe you can say, like you work with Amy a whole bunch, especially over the last few months. Want to introduce this while I cue it up?
Yeah, so Amy she's just full of energy, full of life. She definitely changes the dynamic in a room when she's in there. And her mindset and everything, and her just I guess her outlook on life is so refreshing, and I think she's going to talk a little bit about it during this, but it's definitely worth watching and getting to know her. So
Absolutely. And this is from our VIP section, which you can get access to via the subscription. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, but this is the presentation. We're going to be watching this at 1.5 times speed. If you've never watched content at 1.5 times speed or 2 times speed, it might seem a little bit strange to you. You might be like, what's with these people? Why are they doing this? Well, the answer is, if you can consume content faster, then you can grow faster. You can get more done in a single day. And so this is some good practice. And if you want access to this, we'll talk a little bit more, but keep in mind, we only have 45 minutes. So this is, we're being a little bit of a tease, and I apologize for that, sort of, but let's get started. Here we go.
Hey guys, we are here on day 3. It is sadly the final day of the summit. And we're really here just to help people that are in that paycheck to paycheck situation, to help them figure out how to get a little bit of financial wiggle room. And so that's really what we're starting out with and what we're doing here. This is going to be a mindset panel, which I know that there are people out there that say, we're not going to start about that mindset fluff. We're going to get straight to it and get straight to the meat and potatoes. And let me just say that it's mindset. When I think about like everything we went through on our first deal, like we went through 5 people and 2 GP teams before we finally wound up with the team that got across the finish line. Because you don't know what people's risk tolerances are. You don't know how people are thinking. And it comes back down to the mindset. If we knew up front that we all had the same or a similar mindset, we have the same mission, the same, all of those things, I think we probably could have gotten it done with the second team, maybe even the first team, who knows? But it didn't happen that way. So you live and you learn. Amy, I'm gonna let you take over, and I'm gonna see if that's video on my phone. So.
Oh, yeah, you got it. Everyone, welcome. This is so exciting. As Angel mentioned, we're going to go ahead and talk about mindset. In my humble opinion, I think it's just as important, if not more so, than kind of the tactical side of what we do in multifamily real estate. And I cannot believe who I get to share the stage with here, Dr. Nancy, Doug, and I know we've got one other panelist that I think is going to join us. But yeah, just kind of wanted to give a preview for everyone listening. Thanks for joining us. We're really looking to dive in and give some tangible examples and inspire you, to help you understand the power of mindset. I know, and we'll talk about this as we go, I have a mindset coach. He happens to be on the call too. Hey, Coach T, or in this room here. But I think it is that important that we're willing to invest in that. So before I kick this off, I want to pass the mic over to Dr. Nancy and then Doug to introduce themselves, and then I'll introduce myself when they're done, and we'll kick this off.
Hey everyone, my name is Nancy Wynn. I am in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am a wife, a mom, physician, and eye surgeon, but I'm also an avid real estate investor. And I've discovered the power of real estate and the positive impact that it has on my family. So now through my company, Clear Vision Investing, I'm just on a mission to empower others and help them, particularly doctors and other medical professionals, invest in real estate so they could live life and practice medicine on their own terms.
Amazing. Thank you so much again for joining us. Doug, let's go.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for inviting me, Angel and Jason. Thank you so much for this honor of being on this panel and the great. And it's been a truly epic weekend. Thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Douglas Dow. I am a commercial real estate developer at heart, primarily on the capital raise side. And one of the things I'm going to talk about is why I'm on the capital raise side and not on the construction side. But at the heart of hearts, and I think one of the reasons why I got invited to this panel, I have had a tremendously interesting, somewhat painful experience as an entrepreneur. And coming back to the entrepreneurial space on the way back, I earned myself a neuro-linguistic programming certificate. So I actually got so deep in the mindset. My mindset was so bad, I had to literally become a life coach to coach myself. And so indeed, my own journey required me to delve deep into realizing that mindset isn't everything, guys. Mindset isn't everything. It's the only thing.
Powerful. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. And Angel and Jason, yes, I was remiss in thanking you all so much for inviting us. And I've been attending as much as I possibly can live these past 3 days. It's just been incredible. So, and this topic is so exciting. But before I go on, I'm Amy Silvis of Silvis Capital. I connect folks with great investment opportunities in commercial real estate, namely multifamily and industrial, to help folks generate that passive income they're looking for to design their lives the way they want without the daily hassles of tenants, termites, and toilets. So we all here speak from some real estate experience. Angel, I don't know, you don't need to introduce yourself, right? We already know who you are. Everyone here knows who you are. Fantastic. Well, I'd love to start off because I think we all really understand this value of mindset. And everyone that's listening, I really hope you've got a pen and a pad out with you because there are going to be many nuggets here that you're going to want to make sure to write down. You're going to want to remember, even digest over time because there's going to be a lot of powerful information. So I'm going to be taking notes as we go through too. So take notes along with me. But we all know, as Doug mentioned, this real estate and entrepreneurship journey can have its bumps in the road. And if you're anything like me, starting off, or maybe you're even well into the game and you think, yeah, I just need to know the right people or have the right skill set. But my gosh, there are peaks and valleys inevitably. And mindset is what will really differentiate you and get you further faster to your goals. So Dr. Nancy, I'd like to pitch this over to you and then have Doug and Angel chime in afterwards about, do you mind sharing a story? Let's just get vulnerable about a time when, mindset really was a differentiator, when you struggled, when you really needed to lean on kind of that mindset muscle that I know you have.
I would just start off with how I got started in real estate was really even buying that first property was all about mindset. I had all the information, had read all the books or thought I read all the books, listened to hundreds of podcasts and had my team form. But when I put in that offer, right, it was a duplex, just all this mental game that went on in my head. What if I'm making the wrong decision? Is this the right price? So I feel like the first deal that you close is not necessarily the property, is really the 6 inches between your head and all those mind that goes in between it. So that was a huge hurdle to jump through to even get past that finish line to sign on that paper to close on the property.
Absolutely. So what did you kind of lean on, if you don't mind me asking a deeper question on, how did you overcome that? What did that look like?
It's a lot of internal dialogue because I think the words that we say to yourself are so powerful because if we say, I can't do this, I'm going to lose all my money. But if you just switch a couple of words around and say, well, what if this works? And what if I'm going to make a lot of money? Right. Then it completely shifts your mood and how you view things. So I think the language and just identity that we take for ourselves with each situation is so powerful, more so than.
Yeah, I think that is so important, what you just said. And I just want to pause for a second and make sure that everybody lets that sink in, because I think some people aren't fully aware that everybody has an internal dialogue. When you walk into a room, you're like, oh, what was I? Oh, I need to, the garbage. Oh, the blah, 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 blah. Like you have that conversation in your own head. And some people don't realize it's there because it's piecemeal. Usually I found that as I got into social media and writing and all that kind of stuff, having that internal dialogue and speaking full sentences has been really, really important. But as far as, like how you talk to yourself in your head, like negativity, getting control of that, I think it's so important to put a stop to that. And also when you're limiting yourself, like saying like, oh, I always mess things up. It's like, no, you can't be thinking like that. You should be thinking, I like, if you're talking about one particular thing, it's like when I make homemade pizza, I always mess it up. Or it's like, no, I've always messed it up so far. I never end up successful. I've never ended up successful yet. Just making that little change is super important. And that's what comes to my mind. But it looks like, Jason, you had a comment as well.
Yeah, I would actually change it up more than that. I would say I am improving on my pizzas every time or something like that. Because, even saying yet is still telling your brain and your body that, hey, I'm still not there. But, you are improving. But you still just want to put more of a positive spin in your own self-talk, and that's difficult. I have a coach for that. So, I mean, it's not something that it comes naturally for Angel or I, but I mean, we are working on it, and it's definitely something that people should be working on.
I've heard actually, I think it was Coach T who was talking about how it's like a little gremlin, like when you have negativity in your thoughts and in your head. It's like having a gremlin in the passenger seat of the car, and you do have to be assertive with that little gremlin, and say it's like no, it's do you want to go? Do you want to get out and walk? If you want to be along for this ride, you have to be nicer than that, and just being really strict, even though it sounds kind of hokey at first. But I don't know if Angel has anything else to add. I know she's coming in and out because she's, I don't know if she's out in the boonies, but it counts as camping, right? Good stuff. All right, let's continue. This is the REI Rocks review. We start at 11 a.m. Eastern every Friday. Let's keep going.
And the strategy, more so than any strategy, because how many times, for the people who are listening, have you had all the strategies laid out for you, steps 1 through 10, but you couldn't take that action. You couldn't quite get yourself to do it. And what was it due to? It's probably mindset. It is mindset.
Absolutely. Well, and you were very humble in your introduction, but as a successful real estate investor, you're an eye surgeon, you have this educational background that everyone would be, incredibly jealous of because of what you've achieved. It's so clear that, your mindset had to be present in addition to your intellect and your motivation and your actions to get to where you are. So thank you for sharing that. That's impressive. Doug, do you mind letting us know? It's how you alluded to it a little bit, having to become your own mindset coach. Tell us a little bit more.
I want to start with 2 quotes that I think you could almost create an entire life philosophy over these 2 quotes almost.
Okay.
The first one is Carl Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you'll call it fate. And between stimulus and response is our freedom to choose. It is our growth. Okay. So Viktor Frankl and Dr. Jung both give us some really good clues on, okay, what do we need to be focusing on? The first quote especially hits me like a freight train almost every time I read it, because it was so important in my journey. So to give you a little overview of why I had to become my own life coach, unfortunately, and I'm not going to turn this into Dr. Phil, from age 0 to 7, the things that happen in 0 to 7 are very, very critical, and they stick with you. And for me, it was a terrible environment, and I'm not even gonna go to the details. It doesn't even matter now. And again, Dr. Ben Hardy recently said to me, and he said in a book, "Be your future self now." It didn't happen to me; it happened for me. Yes, thank you so much.
Shameless plug. Let's go.
Okay, shameless plug for Dr. Hardy. He deserved it in this one, in this work. So what happens is, as I'm trying to go through life, and you're trying to carry these, bad models, because you've got a model of how to behave in public, or how to respond to stress, or how to respond to other people. So my responses were either shutting down, or anger at the drop of a hat. So either I'm being too nice, or being just outright angry irrationally, just completely nuts behavior, right? And unfortunately, shame was a part of it too. So you're not being honest with people, you're not being direct in communication. So I'm smart enough to get myself into law school, and not smart enough to realize I really am not wired to be a practicing attorney. I am wired to be a salesman. I'm a salesman with a law degree, bottom line. That's who I am as a person, but I was not being self-honest with that. So, and then fates turn out, I end up inheriting a law firm. Like, here you go, free law firm to a good home. And I'm like, that's like, just like the worst possible case scenario that could have happened for me. But of course you're like, oh, this is great, I'm going to be great. And then, oh shit. And so the internal fear starts kicking in. So you're like trying to push, grow. And inside the house inside is on fire. It's like, oh my God. And then so at the drop, like, and this is going on, right? And so I'm trying to battle through it. And I'm like, oh shit. What am I going to do? And I'm like, oh, I know, I'll partner with somebody. And out of desperation. And this is an important part about commercial real estate and partnering. It is a team sport. You must partner effectively in this game for the most part, I think. And I didn't partner effectively. I barely knew this person, had no discussion about vision, mission, shotgun wedding, because like inside I'm like, oh my God. And to her credit, she was really, really everything I wasn't. So in a lot of ways, it was a good partnership in certain ways, but it was a bad partnership in terms of value and how to grow. And so a lot of conflict started to emerge early, because I just want to continue adding other law firms, like really grow the firm. And scaling a law firm, by the way, is a terrible idea. Just for the folks that are playing along at home. And that's why I ended up in real estate eventually. Scaling real estate is a very good idea. But at the end of the day, I completely just eventually collapsed as an individual, and because of the not having the resources to deal with all the problems. So I'm good at I'm a salesman, so I love helping people. I love growing firm, but the actual day in, day out paperwork and not being effective at delegation and all those things, it just eventually came to a head, and the partnership not working well, and everybody's just, it starts to degrade. And the big one for me is the communication skills were just not there. And so again, a part of the mindset piece, I think, is also its close cousin is the communication piece. And so at the end of the day, and as my taking the slow journey of, okay, so back in 2010, I started like, well, I want to be a syndicator. I think that'd be awesome. That'd be great. But you have that massive failure just sitting on your chest and like an elephant sitting on your head. And so you don't like attack it. You don't go after it. You don't attack it. So you pull back. And then again, 2015, 16 rolls around, the same idea comes back. It's like, well, I really should do this. I really should. And you don't attack it because you haven't addressed the mindset. And so eventually I did. I'm like, I've got to do something more about this. I got to do something because I'm not really getting anywhere and I need to do something about this. So eventually I'm like, okay, I love Tony Robbins. I love that stuff. And every time I hear it, I'm like, okay, that's good stuff. But at the end of the day, I do think it takes an actual practitioner that knows what they're doing. And that's where I finally got results. I finally said, and I'm also stubborn too. So I'm like, oh, I'll just read myself there. I'm going to read my way there. Right. And it didn't work. I mean, I literally wasted almost a decade by just trying to read myself there. So getting outside help, please, folks, if you have any serious trauma going on, NLP, hypnosis therapy, please do it. Please, I beg you, just clean the house because I promise you won't be sorry. Money well spent.
Very powerful.
Yeah, talk about self-awareness there, and I know that I saw the joke in the background that I might need to get my little bleeper thing for all the bad words. I think that's hilarious, but it's so difficult when you're in that situation to have that sort of self-awareness, and it, as he said, it's not going to necessarily come from yourself, and the level of vulnerability on top of that self-awareness, I think, is really something. And it's really easy for people like us to just be like, that's normal, unlike what I suspect about the people in the audience. And the reason why it's kind of normal for us is because we're in a mastermind. We have a circle of people where we can discuss the troubles and basically lay it out the way it actually is, instead of trying to pander around it. And I'm gonna bring the triangles up on our face here so that people can get access to that. Jason, do you want to say a thing or two about the mastermind?
Yeah, so our mastermind is a group of close, intimate people. We are not accepting more than 12 people total in it because we do want to maintain a smaller group. And what we do is we hold each other accountable. We give each other direction and support. And it's just a way for everybody in that group to grow as a whole. You've heard the saying, rising tide lifts all ships. So that's our mentality, and that's what we want to do with it. So anything else on that?
Well, we're going to share a little bonus with the audience a little bit later. We've got I got your not to do list, and I think that says a lot. It has similar levels of vulnerability, basically addressing unpleasant facts. And I think everybody in the audience will really benefit a lot from that. But this is the REI Rocks Review. We're here every Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. This is Amy Silvas's panel on mindset as it relates to commercial real estate. Really fascinating stuff. Let's keep going.
Powerful. Very, very powerful.
Yeah, Amy, I just wanted to piggyback on the point that he just made about fear. I think that's so critical for all of us to hear, because I think that's what holds a lot of us back. And if you think about it, fear is really just an emotional state, right? Is our brain to keep us safe and to avoid pain. And how often, have we gotten afraid of something and we're concerned about something, we end up staying all night worrying about something, and all that concern actually didn't happen and never came to fruition. And I like to, call it, in my mind, like just recreational anxiety, right? Because failure it's not possible if you don't define it that way. So if we just redefine what we see as failure and what we define as success, it could completely change that fear of failure.
I want to drop something in real quick there, Amy. I don't want to hog the panel, but,
not at all.
But there is a presupposition of NLP that I think is one of the single greatest things on this point. Failure is only feedback.
I love that. I was just reading this morning, at the recommendation of my mindset coach and high performance coach, Coach Trevor McGregor, the book that you mentioned, and talking about failure and contextualizing that and what a gift failure can be, and getting used to being in that space and reframing it exactly as you said. What meaning are you giving to that? Is it something where you're just learning, and is it kind of a pathway actually to your goals, as opposed to seeing it as a setback or something like that? So wow, powerful stuff. Angel.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking Jason should probably be here as opposed to me.
Oh. Come on down.
I don't know if he'll do it. I don't know if having the video, maybe I forgot to tell him the time. Who knows? I'm really bad at figuring out the schedule and stuff and getting people on the line stuff. But his mindset, he had mindset changes way before I did. He did it before I did. And it took me probably a good 6 months longer than him. And there's still times when I want to back up and go do what we've already done because residential is easy.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy when I started it. And I think that I forget that part because the commercial multifamily stuff, it's hard. And there were plenty of times when I thought it was going to break me. And it was just, I think it came down to, I didn't give myself any other options. And so I kept, like, especially I think like those 2 weeks when Jason and Julianne were not around. And I guess I did have another option. I didn't have to do it. I could have just stayed in bed and slept. And just, well, I guess I melted away to nothing here in my bed. I don't know. Oh, Frank, you had me. Oh, so, but yeah, he is the one that called and taught me off the ledge a couple times too. But it was realizing, or maybe not realizing even in that moment, but I didn't give myself any other options other than to do it. Whereas I think before I probably would have just laid in bed and not done anything. And so I don't know how that fits other than
big time it does. Big time.
Yeah, Doug, elaborate on that.
It's what we call in the professional NLP circles of coaching a stuck state. You're getting a stuck state. So that's most of the problems that people have mindset wise are a somehow stuck state. So you've got yourself in a loop, in a mindset loop that you have to break and map over to a resource state, saying, well, I'm a successful, and this one's huge, and I'm glad we got to this point. The words that follow I am are almost the most important things you can say to yourself. So I am a resourceful person, or my friend Eddie, my name is Eddie, I can do anything, is what follows his I am. And so it's like whatever follows I am. So like when you start to find yourself in an adverse condition like that, then you have to just kick yourself into that mindset. And I think it does take time to really, like, it's like the neural, I'm not a huge neuroscience guy, but literally by the repetition, you bond the neural synapses together. And so the more you say, I am resourceful, I am creative, I am resourceful in the face of adversity, the more you loop that in your brain will be like, wait a minute, I'm shutting down here. That's not me. I don't do that. And then you move into like, well, who can I call? What can I do? What are my options? And you start thinking in terms of problem state, the solution state type solutions and resource state.
Powerful. I love that. Oh, look who's here.
We got Jason on the stage now. Yes.
Mr. Bowtie. I was going to chime in, but Jason, I think I want to hear from you if you have anything to add.
No, I was actually tending to kids, so I missed part of it.
Oh, you're good. We were just talking about a time, when we had Angel, where we had a pivotal kind of, maybe a trough in life and how we utilize mindset and what that all looks like. If you want to share, if not, you can get settled in and I can share something and, whatever you want to do.
Oh, my daughter's over here saying Philmont. So she had a pivotal shift at Philmont when I was with her. You want to talk about it? She had some like ankle issues the whole time. And she just at first really thought it was like miserable and all her friends were like miserable. And I was like, from right off the get-go, I was like, Julianne, you're just going to have to embrace the suck. You knew it was going to suck going in. It's sucking now. You knew it was going to happen. So just enjoy it because despite the suck. And she was able to finish. Some of her friends did not. So in Philmont, we've talked about some in the summit before, but if y'all don't know, it's a high adventure camp, Boy Scouts in New Mexico mountains. We trekked 60 plus miles over 12 days, carrying 50-pound packs. I was with a troop of girls. I was the only guy, and they were all ages 14 to 16. So,
I love it.
Definitely a hard adventure for girls who've never actually been backpacking before. So
yeah, but talk about embracing the suck. I think that's really cool. Life isn't going to always be amazing, right? So how are you going to train yourself, and what experiences are you intentionally going to expose yourself to make yourself that much better? By the way, this is not beer. This is iced tea. I just realized on camera this looks like beer, so apologies there.
I think a little blue moon on a Saturday is not a bad call.
Yeah, except I fall asleep when I drink, so we're present here. Some of you may or may not know my story. I'm going to call on myself and just share a little bit. I was born with cystic fibrosis, and if you're not familiar with what that is, it's a genetic disease that kind of slowly destroys the lungs over time. When I was born in 1981, I'm 41. You can see my grays and my wrinkles, and I wear them proudly. I was supposed to be maybe 16 or 18 years old at the full extent of my lifetime. That was kind of what was the prognosis. And I, of course, stand on the shoulders of giants and absolutely credit so many people with helping me get here to be 41 years old and in incredible health. But, I share the stories, often about the peaks and valleys of, the fear, as Dr. Nancy mentioned, of having a chronic illness that's really expensive and depends on health insurance and, where I often, couldn't trade my time for money because I was sick in the hospital for weeks and weeks on end, barely able to hold on to a W-2. But that why, the mindset of why and what you want to achieve can be so powerful. And for me, and this kind of transitions into my next question for you all, holding that why in front of you to motivate yourself. And even if it's above and beyond just yourself, like my husband and I are desperate to help children in inner city Los Angeles have the resources for after school programs and to, because they're underserved. And yes, we want to have an abundant and financially free life ourselves as well. But it's so much. It is additionally motivating to know that our calling is really to contribute to amazing children and our country's future. So let's go in reverse. Well, let's go in the same order. Dr. Nancy, we haven't heard from you, my friend. Can we hear a little bit more about your why and how that plays into mindset?
Yeah, I think just to start off, I think all of us is born with a hunger to do more and be more. We constantly want to stretch ourselves, but as we said, sometimes that fear pushes back to our comfort zone. But I think when you have a larger why and a larger mission,
I had to. She mentioned hunger, and I was trying to figure out an excuse to tell people to subscribe with the sandwich, but sorry.
pulls you
Where's the
forward
one with the guy
a
eating
lot
it?
further and a lot easier.
I think that's here we go. There it is. Nom 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 nom.
Hunger satisfied.
Yeah, much better, right? That thing just kills me.
Than if you were to push something, right? It's always easier to pull something than to try to push something. So that force is a lot easier. So what I'm trying to say with this, when you have a larger why, when you encounter those tough times, it keeps you going. It keeps you motivated towards that goal. Right. For me, there's a couple of whys. One is my family and my 2 little girls who are 5 and 3. I want them just to develop this abundant mindset and all the things that I'm starting to unlearn and relearn as an adult. And then the second is, as an eye surgeon, one of the causes that I am so passionate about is preventable blindness, because some of you may or may not know, most people do not know, 4 out of 5 people in the world are unnecessarily blind. And that could be as simple as a $25 cataract surgery or a pair, of glasses that are just a couple of dollars, or even medicines that are 10 cents. So that's a huge mission of mine of why I do real estate and donate to this cause because of that. So that's my huge why. And I encourage everyone on here to kind of figure out why you're doing the things that you're doing, because it will just motivate you so much more and get you through those obstacles that are inevitably going to come along.
Yeah, thinking about negotiating an LOI or your lender coming back with lower proceeds and putting that in the context of some people can't see because they didn't get a $25 surgery. I can imagine how motivating and kind of contextualizing the difficult times, what that could do. So wow, that's powerful. Doug.
I'm going to pause it right there as well, because we're talking about motivation. We're talking about commercial real estate. I don't think it's really tied into real estate that specifically. And I'd like to get a couple of examples. The biggest one is to contrast your role at Lauren Capital, Jason, versus Angel's role, which is you are the person who stares at the spreadsheet, right? And Angel is the person that fears the spreadsheet. She doesn't fear the spreadsheet, but she's a lot more comfortable with like the pitch deck and the numbers that are there, rather than constantly tweaking and verifying to make sure things are okay. And so your big thing, Jason, is to focus on your strengths as opposed to focusing on your weaknesses and trying to become, like this completely
well-rounded.
Yeah, like that sort of thing. What are your thoughts as far as like, or maybe you can explain it to everybody as far as like, why doesn't it make sense to get Angel to like do some mindset mumbo jumbo and then suddenly working in spreadsheets all the time?
So, and we pitched this in our mastermind as well. It is beneficial all around for everyone to work on their strengths. If you are surrounding yourself with people who have the same strengths as you, you need to find a different group and find others that complement your skills and not have the same ones. And that's how you get a well-rounded team. You don't have to be well-rounded as a person, but as a team, you're going to be well-rounded, and if everyone is working on their strengths, those strengths get even stronger. Whereas if I'm working on my weaknesses, my weaknesses might get a little bit better, but I'm not going to be as good as somebody if it was their strength. And then since I'm working on my weaknesses, I'm not working on my strength, and my strength is not getting any stronger. In fact, it can actually atrophy, I guess. And so then you become mediocre all around. And then if you surround yourself with people who are all like that, then as a team, you become very mediocre and you don't level up the way you should. So that's why we concentrate on our strengths. Mine is numbers and developing systems and stuff like that. Angel's is definitely the relationship part. So as an engineer, I don't have a problem with her doing that and me doing numbers. So probably why I went into the engineering field.
Yeah. And even in this presentation here, I think I figured out another way of putting, Angel's big strength. She's so approachable and relatable for everyday people. And like a lot of people are intimidated by numbers. So as soon as you say it's like, yeah, I'm great at math, you suddenly lose that relatability, and you know, like you start to feel like it's like, okay, is this person an alien? How can you like numbers? But it's a real thing. But before we get back to the Amy looks super surprised here. Is there more room in your underwriting? This is great. So I have the link here on the screen for if somebody wants help on their underwriting. But honestly, I think the best thing to do is to reach out. You can also message in the chat right on this video so that we know how to reach you and discuss underwriting. But Jason offers underwriting coaching as well as the service of actually underwriting deals in different levels of depth. But I don't want to spend too much more time on that because we only have 10 minutes left. But be sure to check that out. This is the REI Rocks review. We're here every Friday. We watch our summit content at 1.5 times speed, and then we pause it whenever we have something clever or funny to say. So let's continue.
My selfish why is I want to be able to afford to fly my own airplane because I love, you have no idea, since the age of 4 I've been up in small airplanes, and the idea of having my own airplane, but that was not really that motivational. I've had that goal since as long as I can remember. The one that I think I really care more about, and I think is really actually more motivational, especially in California, there is unnecessarily enraging homelessness right now, and so affordable housing in California, like basically a transit oriented development over main arterial streets of waiting in and fighting a war, and Amy can attest to this, fighting a war that it takes to get that built in California is something I'm dedicated to in the long run of making an actual difference in the market. And it's just it's intellectually stupid that we're not already doing it. But I guess, you know, and I'm gonna have to be frankly willing to upset almost everyone in doing the process. But I'm willing to fight that fight. And again, part of adversity is it strengthens you. So you know, if I haven't already been broken, probably not gonna happen, right? Because everything that's thrown at me from start has been designed to break me. And guess what? That's the beauty of adversity. It shows you that you are unbreakable. And therefore there's a higher calling in that. And like,
He's not specifically referencing hanging out with me, but it's kind of implied, you know, when he's talking about all the things that like are, you know, threatening to break him, all that. No, there's lots of love to Douglas. I just had to throw that out there and pretend. Anyway.
I'm picking my nose on your screen. You stopped it on, it looks like.
Perfect. That's awesome. Let's maybe I can get it on slow-mo. Here we go.
Well, I'm going to wade into something that's really
I think you were shushing a kid rather than nose picking. That's my
probably
guess.
Yeah.
tough because, hey, I've been doing that all day long and twice on Sunday already. So that's what my big why is too. Affordable housing in California really excites me, and it's like, okay, and my friend like CB, I don't know if you guys know CB or not. She's like, why are you going to do that to yourself? And I'm like, well, just gotta do it.
Yeah. And how does that play into when you're having tough times, you know, as you know, in this business? I mean, the answer's probably obvious, but I'd love for you to just give a few extra sentences, if you would, about how that greater why really motivates you.
I think for me, it makes the peanut gallery, so to speak, of the internal peanut gallery too, right? The self criticisms and the self like doubt, and then the external stuff you hear from family and friends and whatnot. It becomes irrelevant because once you have a mission, it's like, well, I'm just on my mission. I'm, you know, and I like to say my life's calling is not a conference call, y'all. My life's calling is spiritually divine, and again, I'm not gonna get up here and preach the good word, but I will say universal calling is really truly a thing for me, and it's like once you have that universal calling, it's between you and your spiritual center. So that's for me. It's just like, well, I'm just doing what I'm here to do. The dialogue doesn't matter.
Incredible. Drown out those negative forces because you're on that mission and you're laser focused. Right. Amazing. Angel / Jason. I don't know who to call on, but whoever.
Well, ours is combined, right? So Jason, you started looking into multifamily, what, 2017?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So our son would have been 7.
Mm-hmm.
And our son was born with a really rare genetic condition. It's called Duke 15q. It doesn't even have a cute name, like cancer or something, because there's so few. There were 742 cases in the world when he was diagnosed. So it's, you know, it was just hard. And then we started seeing the medical bills, and some of his therapies weren't even covered by the insurance that Jason had. And so at that point, we had gotten on. We were a part of the MDCP program, which was the Medically Dependent Children's Program, and that's for children with disabilities. But we eventually wound up out of that one. I can't remember, or we hadn't got into it yet. That's what it was. So we were in another program where you basically could buy into Medicaid, but we still had to stay below a certain income threshold. And we had been doing that for a while. And then one day, Jason and I just crunched the numbers, and it was like, wait a second, how much are we really saving by having Anson on Medicaid? And it was like $45,000, wasn't it, Jason?
No, it was less than that. It was like 7,000 or something.
Was it really? I felt like it was so much.
No, it was
more.
a max out of pocket, basically.
Yeah.
This was before ABA.
Yeah. Okay, so you're right. But it was like we're making ourselves, we're limiting what we can earn for not very much money.
Oh.
And so we crunched those numbers, and it was like, well, I got a master's degree. I can earn more than that working from home teaching adjunct. And so it was like, it was just an aha moment.
Incredible.
But it was also pushed us further into, let's do this multifamily thing. Let's scale up, because you can go one of two directions when you've got a special needs child that has high medical needs. You can remain in poverty and get all the state services or you can go the other direction and create your own services, create your own life, create your own outcome, really. And that was when we started thinking, our why is Anson and the girls, and we don't ever want our girls to have to worry about anything more than just loving their brother. And so we have a special needs trust for him, and there's other trust for the girls, but we are making sure that we're setting aside funds and making enough in the real estate investing space so that there will be enough money in that trust for him, so that all the girls ever have to do is love their brother. They don't have to worry about where they're going to come up with the $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year for just a few therapies. So that's our why.
I love it. Well, I know
That's part
Angel,
of
you and
our
I.
why.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Also, there's only one real organization in the States, and I have like a sister organization overseas that researches what Anson has. And so ultimately what we want to do is be a huge benefactor to that group, and also create an endowment for siblings of kids with it so they can go to colleges and stuff like that. Because when you have a kid like that, they are sapping all your resources, and so the siblings don't get any benefits.
Right.
They don't get the either social securities or the, I can't even think.
Well, it's even before any of that, because our girls don't get to do a bunch of extracurricular activities.
Right.
Yeah.
They just
And even
don't.
traveling is hard because we can't go anywhere with him. He can't fly in an airplane, so we have to drive everywhere. So, I mean, that helps Angel because she's afraid of flying until yesterday or the day before. But
So she's on a private plane with Doug. Doug's private plane.
That's right.
But no, the thing is you wind up with a why that's super big, right?
Yes.
And so sometimes it's so big that it's like larger than you can focus on for it to keep you going. And so you kind of have to break it up into things like, for me, it was putting in my head, I just want the girls, all I want them to ever have to worry about is loving their brother. And that makes it a much easier why to comprehend and to keep propelling you forward.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
and one of my selfish whys is getting out of my W-2 and not needing to go back.
Of course.
So I was terminated June 30th of this year. I was let go from my company, and I wasn't stressed about having to find anything else. So we're already planning on transitioning. So it just put a timeline on it. So
Sometimes God, the universe, your higher power gives you that little shove, huh? It's amazing how that can work sometimes. Oh yeah,
Yep.
Coach T said, congratulations on the W-2 exit. That is, yeah, I'm sure many people resonate with that. Well, I'm sure many people listening resonate with these giant whys, right? I think we all have something on our heart that maybe seems super big, and we're really understanding, would love for folks to understand how realistic can be such a vehicle there with the right mindset to get us to make the difference in the world, our own lives as well, but of course the lives of others. I think that's incredible. I would love to talk a little bit more about habits, because I think we can all attest to the fact that mindset isn't just, a light switch that one day you've got the right mindset and you're set for life. How amazing. It is a constant, right? It is a journey. It's a constant reminder, repetition, practice. And yeah, I would love to, let's start off with Dr. Nancy again, and then we'll just go around the horn again. Do you mind sharing some of your practices? What helps you keep your mindset where it needs to be?
Well, there's so many things, but I'll share a couple. One huge one is just gratitude. First thing out of bed, before my foot hits the floor, is just what am I grateful for? And usually I cheat, because usually it's my husband and my children, number 1 and 2, and then, fresh air or something is number 3 or something else. But just putting yourself in that state of gratitude, it eliminates all that worry, that fear that we often wake up with, right? We worry about the same things that we worried about 2 days ago. The other thing I would say is just really putting myself first in the morning, the first thing before anything else. So I don't touch the phone or any computer emails for the first hour of when I get up, and it's really just exercising, getting my body in the right state, and then prayer or journaling to get my mind in the right state so that I can start the day off. Then I'm not derailed by things that come my way, because I feel like I'm in control of my day. And no matter what comes, I'm not reacting to it. I'm purposefully, taking action to address it, but it's not dictating how the rest of my day goes. So those are just a couple of things. There's many more, but
yeah. So powerful. And as I'm just mentioning this because some folks, I just recently learned this, so I'm excited to share. Our subconscious is much more programmable and influenceable, if that's a word, easily influenced because of the state our brainwaves are in. Thank you, Dr. Joe Dispenza, where I learned that from Coach T. First thing in the morning. So if we're doing these habits of gratitude, of visualization, of affirmations, exercise, all of these things while our brain is still in these, where our subconscious is a little bit more susceptible, that can really set us up for quite an incredible day. So Doug, I have a feeling you've got something to stack on that, and I'm excited to hear.
I do actually. I've actually found a way to leverage exactly that effect that you're talking about. One of the things I love is meditation with brainwave activity. So you can take the brainwaves you're having right as you're waking up, that state between awake and asleep. You can get a nice, really deep, relaxing meditation. If you're starting to get stressed out, you can always say, you know what, this day is really not going great. I'm going to take about 5-10 minutes to reset and go meditate the brainwave activity and get in a little deeper state. Also, when you're looking for a learning period, or you want to really work on something and go to a higher creative state, you also can get into that brainwave activity. I have submitted finally to the 5 a.m. habit. It's not my nature. I am a night owl by nature. I read until 2 o'clock in the morning on vacation, but the 5 a.m. habit is really amazing. I have to submit and say, okay, it's great. Not my nature, but you can do anything if you set your mind to it. And so getting up at 5 is really a huge productivity booster. And again, super love the journaling, and then really trying to be more consistent about exercise. I still think that's so critical. And then that last one.
And it's 11:44, so I hate to be a tease. Not really. Just because we got to keep our lights on. If you want to finish this, oh, look at that sad face that Amy has. Aw, we're not going to be able to finish the presentation. Well, for under $20 a month, you sure can. All you have to do is scan this QR code or go to theacademypresents.com/VIP, and then you can get access to all of those. How many hours of content did we end up tallying up?
We're still tallying. We're definitely in over 350-ish to 400
Yeah,
range. So
yeah, it was like 350, 380, something like that. I remember seeing, and it's a great way to access all this kind of stuff. I just love the fact that these speakers that Angel chooses, they're not full-time coaches with established courses that they've been selling, oodles and oodles of them. So people aren't trying to upsell into some sort of course, and because of that, they're trying to stick to the facts. They're going for accuracy. And then of course they don't want to talk about beginner stuff all the time. They also want to get to more detailed things. And that's why it's so great having Angel talking to them. Because, Angel, she's the same way. She'll be like, if we're sitting there talking about the fundamentals, for a long time, she'll want to change gears. And I think this is a great way to grow as a commercial real estate syndicator, investor, any of that kind of stuff. But Jason, as far as the doggy bag from this presentation on mindset, what are some takeaways? What are your thoughts?
So, well, one takeaway would be, and this follows into the habits and that thing that you wanted to share with them later on. I think is a good time to share it.
Yep, I'll do that now. But yeah, that's right over. Yeah, so this is the not to do list, which of course is it actually going to do that? Okay, yeah, I have to do it another way right here. But yeah, so the not to do list, maybe you can start talking about it while I figure out how to share this way.
So a lot of people use a to-do list, get things on their to-do list, and they start checking things off during their day. But nobody really does not to-do list. And it's kind of a cool screen right there. It's like a Inception type.
Is it still showing? It's still it's still showing that. Yeah, okay. So I need to stop that screen, and I got to do the whole. Okay, Chrome. I did window. Entire screen. That's what I need to do, and we don't need audio. It's that one. Share, and now we got the right one.
We have a not to do list. And so what I do is I keep this posted where I can see it easily. I have it in a paper format right here. And it's just all the things that are not helping you during your day. Just don't do them. You know what they are. If you don't know what they are, here's a nice little list to remind you of the things that you shouldn't be doing. So
exactly.
And we'll post this on LinkedIn as a file so that you can have it for yourself too as well. So
I love it. So you can see waste time on social media. Social media is very important for a lot of people's businesses. So it just means that you have to be intentional. You have to know why you're just putting in that time, so that you're doing better things. The other one too, dealing with emotional vampires, people who just want to, take your energy so that they can use it themselves. They're basically a bit of a bummer. That's a tough one. I know we got to go. We're 3 minutes over. Do you want to say a thing or two about emotional vampires, and then we can give everybody else back the rest of their day?
And emotional vampires, it could be someone on your team. It could be like your spouse or something. You do have to deal with them, but you shouldn't let their negative energy bring you down. So if they're wanting to vent, just say, hey, are you venting, or are you looking for solutions? So that will help. And then that changes your mindset, because if they're just wanting to vent and you're trying to give them a solution, then that's just going to drain your energy and get them more upset with you and just bring everything down all together. So
I love it. I think often about it being like water off a duck's back. So somebody can go out and outright insult you. They control you. They can gaslight you, and then you can just be like, well, those are just words, and consider the source, and just like, not even feel it. And it's not deluding yourself. It's just not making yourself available to that kind of drop. Angel, I don't know if you can unmute, or if you want to say anything, or if you just want to say thanks for watching and have a great weekend. Are you able to unmute? It's not looking like it.
No, she's hitting a lot of lag.
Right, exactly. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I've been adding my takeaway, so I'm going to skip it. We're now 10 minutes over, but be sure to join us again next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, because that's where we'll be. We'll be reviewing these presentations. And if you thought anything was cool, if you had any questions, make sure you put it in the chat. This video is available on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. What else? I guess that's it. There's like all over the place, though. But this has been a lot of fun. So thanks for joining me again, Jason. And thank you for watching.
Yep.
Bye,
See ya.